Back to order, and we've got 2 minutes before the public hearing opens up. So you've got a request for decision on your table that we talked about this morning. So I'll lift the table motion from the table and open this up for discussion. The council approved non-refundable grant to Wheatland Regional Corp in the amount of $1,036,328 for the construction of phase 2 of the regional water line. And the funding will be from the Gleason Capital Reserve utility.
I would so move that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Now, we'll open the public hearing for the traffic control bylaw 2016-32. Is that the number of it? Yep. And seeing there's no public, I won't go through those formalities, and I'll just have whoever's presenting the, what am I doing wrong now? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay, we'll recess the public hearing. We'll go into council, and then when we're done, we'll recess council to go into the public hearing, and as soon as it's over, we'll go back into council and deal with the bylaw. No, I don't have that motion.
Motion to recess council.
Yeah, I moved that we recess council and go into the public hearing process, and Margaret can fill in the rest of what that legal jargon. Now we'll open the public hearing for bylaw.
Do you have 2 minutes to make sure what happened?
2016-32. And as I said, seeing there's no public, I'm not going to worry about asking them if anybody's in conflict. So we'll get right at it and ask who's. Oh, okay, the information is the bylaw, right? Okay. So any questions to what you have in front of you as a traffic control bylaw? I'm assuming everybody went over it with a fine-tooth comb. I do have, I'll start it off. I have one clarification I think we need to look at. When I was going through this, under section 2.1H, highway, when it's talking about a highway and the thoroughfares, and under 2, it talks about includes 2.3, where if a highway right-of-way is contained between fences or between a fence and one side of the roadway, all the land between the fences or all the land between the fence and the edge of the road as the cause may be, but does not include a place declared by the Lieutenant Governor and Council not to be a highway. And I'm assuming that what the Lieutenant Governor is talking about is property lines in between the, but it's misleading. I don't think we need anything in there about fences, because their fences can be 2 feet from the shoulder. They can be 30, 100 meters out in the field. They can be
property
on the main roads, the main highways. I can see what they're talking about because the government fences it to the property line. But on all our roads, the fence line doesn't come into play. It just looks a little misleading, Dave.
And in a lot of cases, there is no fence, there's just a property line, but there always is a property line.
That's right, yeah. And we build berms on the side of the road for them to put fences on, so according to this, the right-of-way would be 5 feet off or 10 feet off the road. And then you've got to refer back to the Act, which talks about the property line. So I don't know if we even need the fence that in there.
Through the chair, I've just taken the definition directly out of the Traffic Safety Act is what I've done. So I can simplify it.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Yeah.
Because to a landowner reading this, they may assume that, like I did when I first read it, I thought, no, that can't be right. There's something wrong there, but, so, but So if everybody, if nobody has an issue with that, Bernice? I have one on 6.1?
Yeah, 6.1, Section 6, road use and parking control,
6.1,
page 49.
okay, no person shall park any heavy vehicle on a highway?
Yeah, well, it says, not any heavy vehicle upon any highway within a hamlet. Now, I'm wondering about the word highway, because, like, say Cheadle, we don't have a highway in Cheadle. So is that something somebody could use against us? Because they can say, I'm not on a highway. So what's the terminology for a highway?
Yeah, again, just going back to the definition of highway, it would be any publicly accessible road.
That's it?
Yes.
Oh, because if anybody else is like me, I always think of highway as the paved main roads.
It is included in the definitions there. It's
Okay,
even
so
so far
that's-
as to include
That can
alleyways.
stay as is then.
Okay. Jim?
Mr. Chairman, so going back to number 2H, with regards to that change that you had noted, Mr. Chairman, should we just change the word in HA3 from fence to property line? Did I understand that correctly?
I gotta find it. Where the hell am I at? Oh, yeah. Between property lines, however, but just take any reference to fence out of it. I don't care how you change it, but,
Property line would be more.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
On two places it says there on about fence, 2 or 3. called
Three.
fence. 3, yeah.
It's 2.1, section 2, 2.1, HA3. Okay? Okay, good enough. Anybody else? It looked to me like there was a lot of just housekeeping in a lot of what it was.
Dawn is,
Don?
Oh, on page 45, 46, it's got the name of the hamlets and whatnot, and it mentions just Eagle Lake by itself.
What section are you referring to? No, what section?
First paragraph,
Are you in the schedules?
on F, on page 2.
E.
Refers that hamlets means any
Oh.
unincorporated community
Designated.
designated as a hamlet by the council from time to time in accordance with.
And the chapter M6 includes the hamlets of Erdno, Baintree, Crowfoot, Carsland, Chancellor, Cheadle, Clooney, Dalham, Eagle Lake. That's the one you're talking about?
yeah. Is it classified as a hamlet or?
I don't know.
Subdivision or what is it?
Yeah, that's the little subdivision that's on the west side of Eagle Lake.
Okay.
We, council looks at it as but it's not classified as a hamlet under the government, or?
It's not classified as a hamlet under the rules.
Okay. Yeah. And Lyalta, Makepeace, Jamaica, Nightingale, Redland, Rosebud, Speargrass. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
I think it's on that same page further down. Well, okay, so a quick question before I ask my question is, so what does the blue letters mean? The blue words?
I believe the blue in this document, it'll be changed to black once we go through it here, but that was just house cleaning again, making sure we had the proper term in there.
Just so that it showed up.
That's correct. It was a change from the last time we.
There was a
went through it.
change, so the blue is still a change.
Right.
So, on page 46 or on page 3 of the document, in the blue, I'm not sure what that is, number that is, it's under I. There's B, livestock raising operations instead of livestock operations. Why the change there? What are we trying to accomplish there? Because what livestock operations, so if you don't raise cattle, they're pets? And I'm kind of serious, I'm trying to figure it out.
I actually don't recall why we put that word in there. But if it's making more sense just to keep it as livestock operations.
Yeah.
Yes? I can strike that word out of there.
Okay, anything else? Amanda?
So, I have some, after it was brought to light up in my little neighborhood of Nightingale, there's been lots of talk about the signage and stuff like that. However, there's also been talk about the speed limits as well. And I look at Schedule A, Schedule B, and I go down and yes, let's go to page 53, somewhere in there. Excuse me. And I see Schedule A, and this is for 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limits. And you have it, all the roads contained inside the hamlet of Nemeka, the hamlet of Cheadle. And then you go down, and it's Nelson Road contained within this, and all roads within the hamlet of Gleason. And then it's section 252 north of Northwest 9, 2526 west of 4th, and then beside it you have a playground zone. So, and then you have it all within the Lake Samirfield subdivision of 30, and then it goes 400 meters on this section of road and Clooney. And I guess my question is can we not be more consistent throughout the county and throughout our neighborhoods? So all the other hamlets, and it's stated at the beginning of the bylaw that all hamlets are 50 kilometers an hour unless otherwise marked. And in rural, it's 80. And that's right at the beginning of your bylaw if you go up further. So playgrounds and school zones are automatically 30, I would think, on any location. It should be your playgrounds and your school and your playground school zones should be 30. So I guess my question is, and if you go to other communities, then we have a 40-kilometer-an-hour speed limit for Speargrass. And so we're 50 kilometers an hour for all the following hamlets: Carsland, Redland, Nightingale, and Lyalta, Chancellor, Clooney, and Ardnode. And then we have a 60-kilometer-an-hour speed zone. And I'm just looking at the inconsistencies here. So for me, I'd like to see consistency. And you mark in here on, we go back to Schedule A, number 8 is actually a playground zone. Like that's the only one where the 30-kilometer-an-hour is actually marked in here as it's a playground zone. So I guess from my ratepayers was they would like to see some consistency for speed limits, like not just recommended, the yellow signs are recommended, the white is actually a speed zone. But they said they would actually like to see it's consistent. So when you drive through Hazard, it's the right speed, and when you drive through Carsland or Gleason or Clooney, which is ours, versus driving through Standard where they have 30 or 50, it's one or the other. But I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that one is 40 and we have all these different. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that came from my ratepayers when they because I had to deliver this They were concerned about the speed being changed in Nightingale. That was the first thing. And when I delivered it, that's the first thing that they said, that there's no consistency throughout the bylaw.
And we would concur, consistency's nice for enforcement matters and that, but there must be a reason why there are different speed limits, I'm assuming. Probably requests from each community, I'm not sure.
Because most of the, under provincial, it's 40 through the hamlets, right?
No, it's
So if
50.
you want it at less than that.
It's 50 in an urban area under the Highway Traffic Act and 80 in a rural area.
Yeah, so that, to change this to 30, somebody had to request it.
That's correct, yeah. And that wasn't a staff request, that would have been a council. Because staff can't make the request on these, these are motions of council required to make it a legal speed limit, so. It's a council decision if you want to have them all the same, I guess it's up to you guys.
Like Cheadle is 30, but the whole community wanted it that way, so we brought it here.
My understanding is for, the other ones are the same. The ones that are at 30 are requests from the community. They wanted it lower than the 50 that's under the Highway Traffic Act, so.
Well, and I think Dave brought up a good point a while ago when we talked about this. In Clooney, there's signs, different 30, 50, it's all over the place. So I agree with you, we need to be more consistent. Unless it's a real issue, you know, playgrounds are already designated at a certain speed in schools. So why don't we stay with that? And then the rest of the zone be at 50 or whatever we decide, and then that's consistent with every community. That would make it a lot easier, I think, for you as a peace officer. I hate it when you go like standard. You're going 50 kilometers and suddenly a block away from the school, you got a 30-kilometer zone. Why? No, there isn't. The school's east of there.
She's saying the school's a block off.
Yeah, school's a block east of that.
Main road.
Block
Yeah,
and
well,
a
we
half
don't,
east.
this council can't set the speed limits in as our standard.
No, I know, but I'm just making the point. We can't do that, but I see that happening more and more, and there's no, to me, no common sense other than it's great for making money by ticketing the drivers. And it's frustrating as you know what, for me as a driver. And you're driving along, you have to be watching so many things. It would be nice to have a more consistent, you know it's going to be, playgrounds are 30, schools are 30, the rest of the driving is, say, 50. Just may not be what we set, but just say that. It's easier for you as a driver, if you know what to expect, and not suddenly, oh, we've got, you know, we're doing 50 and now we have 40. For what reason? You know? I noticed Calgary's doing a lot of that too. It's 90 on Highway 1 coming out on the east side and suddenly it's 70. Why? Because there's an eighth of a mile away, there's the light. Is that the reason? Or is it to make money for ticketing? Because that light is just flashing steady for tickets.
So
Because, you know, what's the reasoning behind it? It's not safety.
I'm thinking with these schedules, the reason they're set up like they are is because of requests from the communities, as Alan said. The staff didn't go out there and decide that they're going to change these speed limits. They came from somebody else because the speed limits are under Section 4. It says that the driver may operate a motor vehicle upon any highway outside a hamlet. It's 80 kilometers unless otherwise posted. And 4.2, it says unless otherwise posted, the maximum rate a driver may operate in a hamlet is 50 kilometers. And the maximum rate of speed at which a driver operates a vehicle in an alley is 20 kilometers. So it's already given that unless otherwise posted. And these are posted for a reason. And I'm assuming it came from the public as to why they're posted that way.
That's correct, yes.
So,
That's why you've got one there in Speargrass, it's at 40.
great.
The community didn't want it at 30 or 50, they wanted it at 40.
That's right. Bernice?
For Cheadle, the reason we want it at 30 is there is absolutely no sidewalks. And so people are walking their dogs, kids are doing their skateboarding and the bikes. We want them going slow so that they're aware of this. If the dog suddenly moves out, which happened to me one time, you've got time to stop or calculate.
So-
In Cheadle, it has to be 30. There's nowhere else the pedestrians can go.
So to make this, to make this work, these are schedules. You don't have to change a bylaw to deal with your schedules. So if we put this through as it is with these named, then if the residents, if we've missed one or got one by mistake and put a speed zone in there that they didn't want, then they have all the right in the world to send us a letter stating that, and then we'll revisit that. But we don't have to revisit the bylaw to do it. It's strictly in this. So we can let this go through with that, assuming that these were changed simply because somebody, those residents in that area asked for those changes, and we're just trying to accommodate those residents. And if it isn't so, then let the residents write us back and then we can revisit the schedule.
So under Schedule C, you added playgrounds are posted for precautionary measures in a 50-kilometer zone listed within the schedule for the hamlets.
What are you reading?
Under Schedule C, number 4.
Schedule which, C?
Schedule C, number 4.
That was a request made by council at the meeting to add something about playgrounds in there, so that's why we've done that. If that's not the wording that you want, then take it out.
Yeah, no, no, that doesn't read right even. The playgrounds are posted for precautionary measures, no. You either post a playground zone or it's either a playground zone or not a playground zone. You don't post it for precautionary. Yeah. Because that's only in a schedule.
You can put up a cautionary sign with no speed limit.
Right, I realize that.
That's what we're saying that we would do. So there's no ramification on you going 50 through there.
So it's just a
It's
precaution
just,
thing.
it's just saying, hey,
Be careful.
their kids might be running out on the street here. We're not saying you have to go 30. It's just saying there's,
So I would put, see now, I had, since then, I had sent in a different kind of a sign other than a playground sign. I sent it into our CAO that said residential neighborhood, and it addressed more than just playground. It addressed the bikers and all those kind of things. And I sent it in, and I would rather see those kind of signs, or share the road signs, or those kind of different signs in different communities versus a playground sign. And I did send that in. Did you get it? I'm sure you got it, so. Yeah, so instead of just a playground sign, I don't want to obligate just to a playground sign because I think it's more than just playgrounds. It's our people that are biking and walking and those kind of things. So I
So-
think,
Do you have a problem with the way number 4 is written?
yeah, I would
So
say
change it to playgrounds are posted for precautionary measures
put precautionary.
within this schedule for hamlets.
So what was that?
Just playgrounds are posted for precautionary measures listed within this schedule for hamlets. So it's in the hamlets, they're putting up precautionary zones. It doesn't say 50 or 40 or 30, it just says caution. And the law says 50
or 30 if that's what it's.
if it's posted, but then it'll be posted.
So you're just taking precaution, just take playgrounds out?
No, just take the
Precautionary
50
signs,
out so
period.
that there's no misconception. You're just putting up a precautionary sign. It says caution, children at play or dogs at play or chickens.
So you don't need that in the bylaw to have that happen.
That's in the schedule, right?
It's part of the bylaw. It becomes part of the bylaw. That's what gives the ability for the peace officers or anyone to give a ticket. If it's not in the bylaw, then you can't give it a ticket on that, so. But if you're just putting up a cautionary sign, you don't need that in the bylaw to do that.
It's not in the bylaw, it's under
But it is in the bylaw.
It's part of the bylaw.
So you have to take it out if you, or rewrite it properly.
If that wording is confusing, then I would suggest leave it out. Don't put that in there at all. And
Because
we
it's
can
an
deal,
add-on.
and we can deal with the specific requests such as Nightingale.
Okay.
If there's a specific request, then we can deal with that as just, like Dave said, we'll just put a sign up there saying, whatever it says, right?
And you heard today from the gentleman that's here in the highways, there's certain speeds that are allowed, right? And I think if we stick with some of that, it just saves confusion. So much clearer and easier for everybody,
So is
unless there's a request for a specific reason.
so is everybody happy with removing 4 out of that Schedule C?
Yeah.
Don't see any objections to it, so. Okay. Anything else? Then a motion to accept.
Hold on, you're still in a public hearing.
I know. I thought of that just as I said it. If there's nothing else,
I want to go back to the request for decision.
then I'll close the public hearing. We're in council. And we'll entertain a motion for second reading with the changes to the, with the
Yeah, but
changes. Bernice has moved second reading. Any discussion?
well, no, yeah, because
Yeah, well,
now you're
discuss
doing a
it.
request for decision. And the
Well-
request for decision has got more than just the actual approval on it.
We're dealing with the bylaw right now.
So is this request for, all these requests for decisions separate from the first reading then? Because on the second one, you have, council approves the addition of traffic signage to indicate caution for playground area adjacent to Nightingale Community Hall. And that is included in the moving of the bylaw? No, it's a
Oh,
separate.
That's separate from the bylaw.
So the
We're dealing-
bylaw, you want to concentrate on the speed limits in there? There's concern with the speed limits and they need to be adjusted. As far as the putting up the precautionary signs, that's a separate motion. It has nothing to do with the bylaw. Because that's not enforceable, right? It's not an enforceable sign.
I think the speed limit, the ones that you're talking about under that Schedule A for the speed limits, I think when we discussed it, it was just leave it as it is and see if it works, and if not, the residents can send something in on it.
I don't believe we received much feedback or any, did we, Jeff?
No, we
Okay,
did not.
so we'll leave it as,
This particular bylaw, we had specifically asked for a public hearing, or council asked for a public hearing.
Yeah.
You don't need to do a public hearing, but it's good practice to do that in a case like this. We received no feedback, and it was posted on the website for what, a month and a half?
yeah,
And notified in the paper and that, so.
okay. So Bernice has moved second reading with the corrections as listed. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion for third reading. Don, just moved third reading. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Now go out and raise some money. Just joking, just joking.
No, you didn't see me.
No, just, I know. That's the redneck coming out, Don. They gotta have the redneck in it every once in a while. So what do we got left then? That's all,
Well, I thought they would have been in the bylaw. With the exception of the Nightingale one. You just pulled it up.
That's correct. Everything is included in the bylaw that needs to be there.
We're done, Jen.
yeah, I think we're done.
In the motion, but-
We need a,
So, but that being said, so that being said, there has been an issue with pertaining to signage going through Nightingale. And I had gone and taken a picture of a sign that was in Rocky View that said, residential area, drive safely. And it had a picture, and I did forward that into Alan. And I thought it would be a good signage for all of our communities, not just Nightingale. But it addresses, it's like the Ember signs or the Pan-Canadian signs that says, and we have one outside of Lyelta that says this is our community, respect the community and drive safely, slow down, those kind of things. And I think that I can send it to you, Alan, and you can bring it up. I think it's the, yes. So that's a sign that was Rex has it brought up, but it was a sign that I seen that sort of was effective and can be put out. In fact, that one is in the field. So is it a possibility to checking into what the cost of those signs would be?
So, Mr. Chairman, we can bring our back some information on that, further information. One of the things with those, that sign, I think there's some in Rocky View,
Yeah.
and I've seen them further north too, but that's not a common sign. And if you want to be consistent, then you should stick with more of a common sign that people recognize more readily. But what I'll do is I'll have Dave bring back a recommendation at the next meeting, say the March 7th meeting.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Alan. This playground zone thing is like a universal, commonly used, that people understand. They just see it out of the corner of their eye. They understand that. They have to kind of, oh, that's a new sign. Let me read it, type thing, right? So.
True.
agree.
But the other thing is it is a new sign because we get complacent with regular and the smaller signs. So for me, it was that one picked off my eye and I was just happened to be driving through and went, oh, this is cool. And it says catches your eye and drive safely because it is what it is. And I think that all our communities could use those. So did you get a copy of that, Jeff, or you never got a?
So we never provided the Jeff because it's
Okay.
not an enforceable sign.
Okay.
So it's not something that he would have to ever deal with, right? If it's a playground sign with a number on it or speed limit under it, then he has to enforce that.
Right.
So,
I have it. And if a playground is fenced, it doesn't require a 30-kilometer zone. So we need to look at the regulation on that.
yeah, that's up to the local jurisdiction. There's lots of municipalities that have fenced playgrounds and fenced schoolyards, and they still,
So it's again,
it's a decision of the council.
decision.
Okay,
Decision
so
of
do
the
you need a
council.
motion to bring the information back, or?
Dave's got that direction, so
Okay.
he can bring that information
enough.
back.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
And for me, it's just about.
Yep,
So the purpose of me bringing that sign forward was for all communities. It just wasn't for Nightingale. It was for our other hamlets and our other areas that are sort of in our jurisdiction of being residential. Right? So if there's and that was the purpose behind it because it's a residential area. Because in a lot of areas, there's a lot of acreages around. But Nightingale doesn't look like a residential area. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes, it does.
No, it looks like it's an acreage area.
No, it looks like one.
not
Anyway,
really
so
classed as
we'll
an-
look
What we
at
can
the-
do, Mr. Chairman, is we can bring it back
Bring it
with,
back.
with all the communities. The cost might be cost prohibitive right now,
right.
but we can also bring it back what it would cost per community. And then that way council has a choice to say, well, maybe we want to try it in Nightingale or one or two communities this year and see if it has an effect, rather than do all the communities and go to that expense, because it'll be quite an expense, I suspect.
Okay, we'll wait till we see what you bring back, see what kind of a picture you bring in. With a story, picture and a story, and bag of popcorn and pictogram, there you go.
You want one of those Australian signs?
And then, okay. There's no other business before council? What?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jeff.